All right, let's take a look at some of these stocks individually. Begin with Netflix and bring in Susan. They lost 1 million subscribers, but apparently that was okay, right, Susan?
Yeah, it was actually great news because guidance is key. So, yes, they lost 970,000 in the springtime. But, hey, on the bright side, that was less than the 2 million that they guided for. And also for the summertime, Netflix says that they're going to add 1 million new subscribers. So at least we're growing, which is a positive part. So the ad-supported tier also coming in early 2023. And Reed Hastings, the CEO, on the earnings call says that linear television will die. He says in 5 to 10 years, they're still spending $17 billion in content this year. That's still less, though, than the $18 billion that they possibly could have increased it to. So at least they're trying to keep costs in check. Now, there was a streaming relief because I can tell you the entire industry was watching this closely. Last time around, you had Netflix losing 35% in one single session after they said they lost subscribers for the first time in more than a decade. This time around, look at the relief rally, the Rokus of the world, Paramount Global, which has that Top Gun billion-dollar franchise, Warner Discovery. Also, by the way, CEO Reed Hastings said on the call that he chose Microsoft, and this was kind of surprising that he chose Microsoft instead of, say, Google, who has a better and probably more advanced ad tech, because they said that they're going to, in conjunction with Microsoft, develop a new type of ad platform with new advertising technology. And as you know, those two giants and innovators getting together, it's always, I guess, a bit of a scare for other technology players in the world.
I would say. Yeah, very interesting development. All right, let's take a look at Tesla.
Relief.
They report, the company reports after the bell.
Yeah.
What are we expecting from Tesla?
Exciting, because it's always exciting if Elon Musk gets on the earnings call. So he says that he's not going to do it each and every quarter. And last time he did get on the earnings call, boasting about that record profit, record quarter for Tesla and deliveries and the bottom line. This time around, I think it's questionable. So we already know that the 2-year run of record deliveries has ended this spring because of the COVID lockdowns in Shanghai. So sales are forecast to drop. As a result, profit expected to be down around 10%. And that will be the first decline in profit in more than a year for the world's largest electric car seller. On the positive side, you already had Tesla saying that June was a record production month. Giga Berlin has come online, Shanghai reopened, Austin is ramping, so the back half should be positive. I also want to note that Elon Musk, remember he sold around $10 billion in Tesla stock last year in November to cash up for possibly his Twitter bid. So if he gets to walk away from this $44 billion deal by either only paying $1 billion in that breakup fee or billions of dollars in damages if the court awards that, he's going to have some extra cash lying around, and that $100 overhang on Tesla shares because of this Twitter bid, that could be erased. So that's positive, stock positive for Tesla.
Only $1 billion breakup fee. He can afford that with pocket change.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, that's true. It's all relative. All right, let's keep talking about casino stocks.
In the billions, right?
Yeah.
Just to hang around, you know.
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. Anyway, let's get on to Macau, the big gambling mecca. Yeah. Rolling back some of its COVID rules. What's this got? Is that why we're seeing a lot of these stocks move higher?
Yeah, so Caesars doesn't have a property in Macau, and that's why it's probably underperforming. But the Winds, the Las Vegas Sands, I saw Melco was up close to double digits, and reports that Macau is reopening this weekend. They're allowing their casinos to reopen thanks to a drop in COVID cases. As you know, Macau is the world's biggest gaming enclave now, so they rake in 4 times more gaming revenue than the entire Las Vegas Strip. And this is positive, of course, after Macau casinos, all of them were forced to shut for at least a week. I think it's almost 10 days now and counting.
All right, let's switch topics here. Let's talk about Robinhood. We haven't talked about Robinhood for a while. Are they tied to Berkshire's phantom trade?
Yeah,
What's
it's
that
interesting. And also, I would love to show you Berkshire Hathaway. Those A shares still worth 6 figures. If you have a few billion in the wallet, you can afford some of those A share Warren Buffett, Berkshire stocks. So people were trying to figure out what exactly and why there was so much interest in volume in Buffett's conglomerate last year. You know, Berkshire, usually a pretty boring stock. It's very few spikes either to buy or sell in Berkshire, but apparently it's all Robinhood's fault. You know, they have 22 million accounts discounts, and they're offering fractional shares. So nowadays, you can just buy a sliver of the stock instead of the whole thing. And in Berkshire's case, since the B shares are still expensive at $253, the A shares are $100,000 plus. But apparently, here's the catch, is that Robinhood wasn't properly reporting them, and they're blaming FINRA, which is one of the regulatory bodies there. And they said that because of their new rules, that means their fractional trading on Robinhood's platform wasn't being accurately reported or recorded, according to a Wall Street Journal study.
All right. I think I got it. Let's talk about oil. The ongoing issues with Russia. How are they affecting the big oil companies who are all down today?
Yeah, and you saw also what happened with oil prices. I saw $98 this morning. We are sub 100. So I think there's some relief after the energy agreements with Russia on gas. And does that mean that they're more lenient when it comes to Russian oil in the future? OPEC Plus, of course, so that they are committed to pumping more supply onto the market. And also investor relief. You had the best day on the markets for the S&P 500 in a month. Does that extend? Maybe does that mean that we aren't at inflated commodity pricing? Also, Baker Hughes, the oil services company, this morning missing on top and bottom lines. They're blaming inflation. Also, the CEO said that he sees less demand, believe it or not, from some of his clientele. That's interesting, given that we are looking at the highest oil prices since 2008. You would think that there would be a heightened interest in oil services and drilling.
Yeah. Well, the energy sector is certainly one of the losing sectors today. Susan, thank you very much. Great stuff. Lots of information as always.